For judgment item number 1, WPC 7821 of 2006.
Repetition stands allowed. Impugn order is set aside. The matter is remanded back for a press decision by OP number 3 within the stipulated time.
For admission item number 2, WPC 6610 of 2006.
May I please your lordship? In portions of the last, in compliance to the last order, we have filed an affidavit on 20th May 2022. Lordship may kindly have a glance over it.
20th May is yesterday.
Yes, madam. It is e-filed on 20th May 2022.
That's what, yesterday.
Yes. And the hard copy is with me, if your lordship.
Where is that?
Yes.
Soft copy here. The soft copy is not here. I mean, you filed it in e-filing.
Yes, it is
E-filed,
e-filed.
Lord, but I have requested the DR to
Chabra is here.
Yes.
All right.
Lord, before my lord, in fact, on last few occasions, my lord, the director of public prosecution was also being requested to present, my lord. Today, if necessary, my lord, I'll request him to join, because I have-
Yes. Please ask. Any number of people can join. There's no issue on that.
Today, my lords, it was fixed to basically deal with this issue of overcrowding.
Overcrowded.
So we have made a small graphical presentation.
Okay.
We have given it by way of a pen drive also.
All right. But let's go through this affidavit also first.
My lords.
Just see what they're saying. There's a report in a sealed cover. In a sealed cover, there must be a report of a district judge. So you opened. We'd ordered an inquiry.
Yes,
into
yes, by the session judge.
that. Correct. You have a copy of this affidavit?
Yes, yes.
This assault. So one.
Document director. এই তো দুটো পরে এই যে ডেট হতে এটা ঠিক আছে না Another affidavit I had also filed on 20th May. These are the two affidavits we have filed after the last date.
Oh, no, 12th May, I think we have that affidavit.
Yes, but this is the hard copy I'm filing.
So you've gone through the.
Yes, ma'am.
See, in many instances, they've requested for things. We don't know if it's actually being provided.
So far as there are 2-3 issues. So far as this overcrowding, I think the new DG has joined. He needs to have a fresh look. We have prepared a small set of slides.
Okay, let's see that.
Overcrowding is something which needs to be addressed because that has a cascading effect so far as the other issues are concerned, like mental health. If there's lack of
Correct.
So if that we have given it in the form of a pen drive, if my lord would see the graphs, it's a list. It's about 35 prisons. We have made a compilation from January 2021 till today. A graph set has been provided. Yes, my lord. We are now able to see it. Now, if this my lord would see is Baleswar.
Right.
It was available in our screen also for a short while.
Yes.
It's not visible in our screen. Yes, now it is visible.
Yes. Now, if my lords would just see from January 2021 onwards.
Oh.
You could ask.
Otherwise, I have my laptop. I can show it to the government council. If my lords is able to see it, we can proceed.
No.
No, we are able to see it. I think they're not able to share. Are you able to see it now?
Yes, my lords.
Yes,
now we
yes,
can.
now it is visible. No, again, this.
After some time, it's getting disrupted.
Stopped.
May I just ask the amicus query, please, if it has also been shared with us as yet or not? Because we are also seeing on screen for a minute and then it goes for a few seconds.
We are trying to mail it across to him.
All right.
I think now it's, if it can be scrolled down. Yes. So what we were trying to show, my lords, is from January 2021 onwards, Baleswar has been consistently above 20%.
All right.
Now, if my lord would see for September 2021,
Correct.
it rose up to 47, then hovered around that 47 mark, 46, 47. Then comes the orange part, my lords, that is post the committee formation. That is 23rd December, the order was passed and then the committee worked on it. Then we see a gradual decline. Now it's
26%.
at 26%.
Right.
Now this decline has happened because of various factors, including additional capacity.
Right.
So this we have compiled for around 35 prisons,
Okay.
which are above this 20% mark.
Right.
Rest of the prisons, since they are within the range, we have not made this. It can be made quite easily also.
All right.
So Baleswar, my lord, saw the present, I think the screen is coming out. The schedule accommodation is 480. Now the present population is 605. That on the right hand side, I don't know whether my lord is able to see.
No, yeah, we're able to see.
So now, then my lords may see Bhavani Patna, the next jail.
Bhavani.
There things are looking manageable. Again, because of that intervention, we see a dip there from January
Right.
22 on.
Right now, there's no overcrowding in Bhavani Patna.
No, man.
0%.
Right.
Then next jail
So
would
these
be
are all the district jails.
My lords, these are all district jails.
Right.
We have written it Dhenkanal district
DJ.
jail.
Yeah.
Dhenkanal also it's looking good.
Yes.
Next one would be there is a cause of concern, my lords, Fulbani district jail.
Yeah, consistently it's
Yes.
high.
Now, Fulbani, my lords, they need to have a look at this. Probably these figures would point out that they need to have an additional capacity. Because if my lord sees from January 21 onwards, it's consistently above that 50% range.
Correct.
So even if they say make an additional capacity of 20 or 30%,
Right.
of course, these are all made by my team.
Right.
They can have a fresh look, but it's all based on their data.
Right.
Published in the prison website.
Right.
So Fulbani now is way ahead at 58%.
Right.
And here also, if my lord would see from January onwards, there has been a dip, but not a major dip. If my lord sees the orange bars.
It's now hovering around 59,
58, 59%. And those HPC recommended persons, they are still to come back.
Correct.
Because
And
of
if they
COVID.
come back, it will go up even more.
Some, I'm told there would be around, say, 1,500 people who would be coming back. Then if my lords would see Sundargarh, my lords.
It's again going up.
Yes. So, but then in all cases, there is, because of that committee, there has been a reduction, but probably further reduction would be possible if other measures are taken up.
So here again, additional capacity.
Either it's additional capacity or maybe Arnesh Kumar if it's strictly implemented.
That is more than if you've served more than.
Yes. Arnesh Kumar, if they are able to.
7 years, my lord. When there is 7, the punishment is less than 7 years, then the time of forwarding, the magistrates had to consider the gravity of the offense and release the accused on bail, my lord. So in Odisha, what is happening, my lord, this particular 41A is, this particular judgment is not being followed. And therefore, my lord, in small petty offenses also, when the accused is forwarded, the magistrate, usually, my lord, they send him to the custody.
1 minute.
But there, I must say one thing.
Arnesh Kumar won't have an impact on the under trial population.
No.
What about this recent judgment of the Supreme Court, which says 10 years if they've been in custody?
Yes. That's also remission.
No. I think they've said they should be granted bail.
My lords. Now,
In Allahabad, I think they've said
yes.
that.
Now, here, Arnesh Kumar, there is one issue. I think this should be coming from the state. In Orissa, what happens is we have post this chit fund thing. In economic offenses also, they are not granting bail. That because of this economic impact on society. So even if it's below 7 years, Arnesh Kumar may be difficult. But then that's one way forward. Other issue would be having additional capacity.
That judgment is not applying in this chit fund matters, perhaps. No court is granting bail.
Yes.
I'll supply a copy of that judgment, Lord.
That's for the pre-arrest notice.
Yes,
Pre-arrest.
But
Pre-arrest.
further arrest can be prevented. Further, unless if the judgment will be made applicable, my lord, then we can at least for petty offences.
What he's trying to say is that if the arrest is made in violation of Arnesh Kumar, then the courts can step in and release. That's probably what he's mean. So if my lords would see the other jails, Bhubaneswar again, it may indicate at raising capacity, because my lords would remember Bhubaneswar, my lord had also said the UTRCs to function quite regularly because of these high numbers. They have come down from 50, they have come down to this 20% level. There has been also an additional capacity increase.
Yes.
Then my lords would see Bhadrak, which was always figuring at the high levels. There
Now
also
it
the
is-
numbers have come down. Gradually, it was at times at 197% in August, September. There also they have come down. My lords. But then still then they are at the 70% level.
But Bhadrak was very bad. At one
Yes.
stage, it was
Yes.
200%.
Now it is improved.
Yeah, it has considerably improved.
It's
So how
all
did they achieve this?
because of the combined effort of both the legal aid and the state.
Okay. No, they managed to shift them, or they managed to release them, or how did it happen?
It's actually a combination of everything. They have increased capacity.
I see.
UTRC meetings have happened. And because of this previous order, I think the courts have started being slightly liberal in bail matters.
Oh,
So it's a combination of all.
all right.
Even Arnesh Kumar, they have issued circulars. So in small matters, forwarding must have gone down.
Okay.
The Home Secretary has issued circulars also to follow Arnesh Kumar. Next, Deogarh, my lords, things are looking good. 16% at the moment.
In Bhadrak, sir, if I may add, we have shifted 109 prisoners, and we are planning to shift some more because increase in capacity is going to take a lot of time. Because this is an old jail, new jail has yet to start construction, so it will take minimum 2 years for the new jail to come up. In the meanwhile, we have shifted about 109 prisoners to Baripada, and we are, as we speak, we are working out modalities to shift more because Bhadrak's congestion is one of the most serious matters.
Right. Yes.
They are probably also, I had suggested in my meetings that to look at temporary accommodations for Bhadrak. That I think the DG has also, he's looking into it.
All right. So when did the monitoring committee meet now?
19th.
19. All right.
Then my lords, ASCA again, it's consistently above the 30% mark from January 2021 onwards.
Right. So ASCA is another problem area.
Yes. If we take the 20% limit, once it goes above 20%, it's overcrowded.
So ASCA will have to see with Ganjam, that jail.
Yes.
Berhampur.
We have also made a convenience note in terms of whatever we are showing in terms of the graph.
All right.
So I'll just quickly run through this. Atta Malik, my lords, is again at after Athagad, my lords. Athagad. I'm sorry, my lords. Athagad is looking good. It's below it's a small prison. It's going below the level. Then my lords may see.
Athagad is here near Cuttack.
Yes, in Cuttack district.
Correct.
Atta Malik, my lords, now again it's at 40%.
So this is a sub jail.
It's a subject.
Yes.
Next one, my lords, would be Baliguda, where it's quite high, my lords.
That's right. 100 plus. So you have 1, 2.
In the convenience note, we have listed it out
Yeah.
in terms of giving the percentage numbers.
Correct. Baliguda and Jajpur.
Yes.
So what is the monitoring committee's response, Mr. Chabra. Mr. Chabra?
Yes, sir. Sir.
No. Both Baliguda and Jajpur, both sub-jails have more than 100% excess.
Yes, sir. Sir.
So what is your action plan for that?
Sir, as I mentioned, sir, the overcrowding is the main problem, and we had identified these 5-6 jails, namely Bhadrak, Jajpur, Fulbani, Baliguda, and also there are other jails, but these are the worst condition.
Right.
So we are now working out to the only practical solution as of now is to shift them to jails which are nearby, and secondly which have the capacity to do so.
Right.
So as I mentioned, sir, Bhadrak we have already shifted 109 prisoner to Baripada,
right,
and now we are also working out where else we can shift those people.
Right.
So similarly for Fulbani, Baliguda, also we are working out where we can shift the prisoners, because new capacity in certain areas, there is new capacity is being added, but obviously it will take time. But shifting is the short-term solution only. So we are working out on that in immediate cases where the overcrowding is too high, sir. And I am pretty sure that within next few days we will be able to redistribute them. There is actually only one problem which we are facing in that, especially in Bhadrak, we face this problem, which I have been informed by my staff, is that the courts in Bhadrak have been a little reluctant in allowing this thing and putting some conditions which probably are creating a little bit of hassle to this thing. Maybe that can be overcome, and then we will be able to shift them.
All right.
Regarding shifting, I can assist him on this. There are 2-3 issues. One is my lord's order says that shifting should be as a last resort, the earlier order. And second is, there in the bar level, there are some, the courts are reluctant because they cannot meet them under trials. If they are shifted, the family, they go away from the family members. So all those are some factors where shifting is not being allowed in some cases. The local bar also, they can't go and take instructions.
What about that first suggestion we made about finding other buildings or who can be converted into prisons?
I have been trying to convince them. I think now that Mr. Chabra has joined, he can look at it in a fresh way.
Sir, we had suggested if there can be other buildings that can be converted into prisons.
Sir, I had been discussing this matter with Leonard Ms. Kasturi, and he mentioned this thing. Actually, probably it's not absolutely in our hands, because those buildings, for that we will need support from other departments also. We will explore this area, but unless we get some kind of support from other departments, it may be difficult for us to on our own assure that this can be solved. So,
yeah. From the government's point of view, in fact, we would very much want the government, all departments of government, to cooperate on this.
So definitely we'll approach. What I can do is I'll approach the Bhadrak district magistrate, and because he's the head of the administration there, and he can help us to find out some kind of solutions if it is possible in Bhadrak and other Jajpur. But in the meanwhile, sir, if I may just add, we have identified places which are not too far, like place like Soro, which is about 30 kilometers from Bhadrak. And we have been working out that we can actually overcome the problem. About 100 people can be shifted to Soro.
Correct.
So Bhadrak problem will be taken care of. Similarly, Jaleshwar is there, we can shift some. So these are nearby places where obviously difficulty will be less for the under-trial prisoners, families and advocates. Soro is actually a very close by place. I have been SP of Bhadrak long back, and Soro and Bhadrak are very close. So for Bhadrak, I am fairly confident that we can find the solution to overcrowding. Similarly, for Jajpur, there are places like Narsinghpur, Salepur and Athgad, where Athgad obviously there is under capacity. So we can also shift some people from there. In the meanwhile, till we find some other solutions.
All right.
So I'm confident will be able to overcome this problem. As regard Baliguda and Fulwani, I will have to see which are the jails where we can shift them or how soon we can add the capacity, sir. So I'll need a little bit more time for that. But Bhadrak and Jajpur we have already worked out, and we can go ahead with it if we get the go ahead, sir.
All right. All right. But typically, you'll have to move an application before the judge for permission to shift.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we will be doing that once we today's hearing is through and we get the clarity on which way to go. So we will move on that, sir. But we have the roadmap for this. This is ready with me. We can do it maybe next 2-3 days itself, provided we get the go ahead.
All right. So because there are, we have to go through 19 more jails where the capacity is now, excess population is between 50% and 100%. I think that's the next slides.
Yes.
We'll just run through
them. It will not take much time. Dharamgarh again is seeing a dip post intervention of this committee.
Right.
Now it's at 32%.
Right.
Then next, G Udaygiri is looking good. Numbers are good. Gunpur, my lord, may kindly see after this. Here again, it's going up. So now it's above the 20% limit.
So Gunpur is where in Ganjam?
No. Rayagada.
Rayagada. Sorry. All right. Okay.
Then, my lord, next one is Jajpur, which we were discussing.
Correct.
Here, there was a direction also on 23rd December to increase additional capacity. This somehow they have not been able to do. Even that small capacity where they have increased in Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Jajpur, maybe they have missed it out or something. The additional capacity has also been done. So there was a direction also in that order. And here,
but he was just telling us they might shift Jashpur to Artagad and
shifting
Salepur and all.
From their point of view, shifting would it's an easy solution for them, but the courts, the accused themselves, the lawyers, all those factors also are there.
No, but I think from Jashpur to Salepur and all can't be very far.
Next, Jajpur, the nearest one is Jajpur Road, where also it's around 13% high.
No, Salepur. I think he's mentioning Salepur, Artagad and all that.
Well, let them look at it. I'm just showing the numbers. It's
right.
In any case, if they are able to remove 100 also, still then it will be at 200.
Right. So Jashpur Road has come down now.
Jajpur Road has come.
All right.
Sir, actually, Jajpur, the problem was because it's a sub jail, there is no further capacity addition possible. The new jail has to come up, similar to Bhadrak, because these, actually, sir, Jajpur and Bhadrak became districts quite later. They are not old districts. So their jails were actually sub jails, which are now required to be updated. So Bhadrak, we are in the process of constructing the new jail. The Police Housing Corporation is doing that, but it will take 2 years. Similarly, Jajpur also was a sub jail, so capacity is very limited. Further additional capacity is very difficult to do there, sir. There is no space available there.
Right.
But Salepur and all, we can, I agree, it's a temporary measure, but that is the measure necessary only for a temporary solution till we are able to add the capacity or the prison population depopulates with other efforts like 41 CRPC and Arnesh Kumar judgment and all. Till the time those things take effect, we have to go for temporary solutions because that is the only practical solution which is apparent.
All right. Jaipur
also it's gone down gradually. It's at 17% now. Jharsuguda is also looking
less
good.
than the, yes, that's good.
Next, my lords, would be Kamakhya Nagar.
It's really again worrying.
Yes. Here, there was a slight dip, then it's going back to its.
So where is Kamakhya Nagar?
It's in Dhenkanal.
Dhenkanal.
Yes.
Okay. So I think inter-district transfers will be even more difficult.
That can be a possible solution. They can.
In that event, my lord, Athagad and Jajpur not same district.
I know.
Cuttack district and that is Jajpur. But adjoining districts.
For Kamakya Nagar, which will be the nearest from Denkanal to again, Cuttack is an adjoining district.
Denkanal to Kamakhya Nagar, Pallahada is nearest to Kamakhya Nagar. Or
No, do they have a sub jail there?
in Pallahada, there is a sub-jail. No? Yes. That
Okay.
is district is different, Anugul district, but adjoining to each other, Kamakhya Nagar and Pallahada.
Right. All right.
Lord, in Dhenkanal, there are 3 jails. The district jail is Dhenkanal, sub jail is at Kamakhya Nagar, another sub jail is at Hindur.
Hindul.
Yes.
Indore status on the
And the London Member Secretary has in fact prepared a chart, my lord, where the current chart shows that in Hindul the total scheduled accommodation is 76, and currently there are present population is 30, my lord, 30.
So there is
There is space available.
for another 30, at least 40 more.
There is scope for about 43 prisoners to be shifted to Hindol, sir, if it is allowed by the court. So Denkanal should not be a problem. We can Athagad also is close by. So we can actually do that, provided this way is followed, that we are allowed to shift. So then I think we can adjust a lot of these prisoners in these jails.
See, what we'll do is in the order we'll put down that these are the concerns expressed. When you move that application, you can attach this order with that application.
That will be a great help, sir. That will be a great
That might help. That might help.
Now, your lordship's order is also circulated everywhere in all lower courts. They are conscious of the fact that the Honorable High Court has already taken cognizance of all this.
Right.
So it may not be so difficult to get the order of safety.
Right.
Now the bar members are opposing
So
actually.
that
That is the only difficulty. Courts are not standing on the way. The
Right.
bar members are opposing. Vehement opposition from the bar.
I would request that let that be left to the wisdom of the concerned district judge. He would be in the best position to
Correct.
deal with.
Correct.
Because local bar issues also have to be factored in.
Correct. All right. So Kendrapada's
In fact, post-COVID, the bar members would be just coming back for regular
physical
function.
hearings.
So I believe this shouldn't be a
That will stand on their way to
I know.
get free access to their clients.
Kendrapada, my lords, again, it's at 18%.
Below 20%. Yes.
Yes. I think we can go to your convenience note.
Yes, ma'am.
So that gives us
Next
the-
one, I think I must show that here the numbers have gone down maybe because of the intervention. They were consistently high. Kodara, my lords. It was very high. It's gone down gradually.
yeah, considerably.
Malkangiri again, it was figuring in those high lists. It's gone down. It's now consistently at that 60% zone. So here, I think further reduction may not be possible. They may have to look at.
No, in Malkangiri, I know for a fact that the additional jail was being built and it was supposed to be completed, Mr. Chabra.
Sir, I will get let.
I was
the
told when
status
I visited Jaipur and Malkangiri, I was told that the additional jail is almost complete.
I will find out the status, sir, because immediately I don't have that status, but I'll just check at
All right.
OBSA.
So I have shared this with them. This may come handy for them. This data.
Right.
This data will be extremely helpful to us.
Right.
And to be fair to Mr. Chabra, he has recently joined.
I know.
So he needs
I know
to,
that for a fact. Yes. In fact, I'm glad that he's fully hands-on already. So
Yes. That's there.
Sir, I have been informed by my staff that it is apparently March 23, the new jail will be complete. That's what I have been informed.
So if
So-
there's a way of expediting that, that's what I meant. I think
That's what
nudge. Yeah,
we will find out, sir, with the housing corporation which is carrying out the job.
correct,
So,
correct.
and in the meanwhile, we will also find out ways and means to decongest, sir.
Right.
So I'll quickly go to the convenience note. This
Yes.
compilation is a part, they can keep it.
Right. So there are 15 jails still between 20 and 50%.
My lords.
And that includes Bhubaneswar Special Jail, Aska.
Yes. Between 50 and 100%, there are 4.
Right.
And rest would be 15.
So Fulbani and Badrak, his Kamakya Nagar, he's given us possible solutions.
My lords.
Fulbani has to work on it. Badrak and Kamakya Nagar is.
I would request him that this temporary, because it's worked well in Delhi, Bombay during this COVID period, temporary accommodation is something which they can have a fresh look at.
Correct.
Then if my lords would see page, that it's a very handy document at page 11 of that convenience note. It's a UN handbook for reducing overcrowding. I've just given it. It's all there earlier, but it quickly we can have they have 10 heads. Collect at page 12. I'm reading, Milords.
Yes.
10-point plan to reduce prison overcrowding. This is prepared by the UN department. Collect and use data to inform a rational, humane, and cost-effective use of prison. Yes. Then review and reform the criminal justice process as a whole, from arrest to release, and invest in crime prevention and reduction. This also, Mr. V.K. Singh has been suggesting divert minor cases out of the criminal justice system.
Yes.
Improve access to justice and case management during pre-trial detention. 5 would be develop and implement constructive non-custodial measures and sentences.
Yeah, these are all policy level, but
policy level. It may come handy.
It'll have to be an all India policy in some of these measures, because this will involve IPC. I think that committee which is going into it right now, the central government has set up that committee.
Some of these are already recommendations here in this case.
So I'm just saying special local laws is one thing, the central laws are another. So. How is Orissa doing on this 0.7? That is parents with dependent children, mothers with babies. Last time there were 3 children or something.
There, in the meetings, there has been some progress, but it's all because after this.
Right. Now, even on 8, I think there is still an issue.
Yes. In fact, I'm glad that Mr. Chabra had raised this during his meeting. He's very sensitive to this mental illness.
Right.
So in this convenience note also, I've made a list of prisoners who, as per their own reports, who have mental illness. Some special drive if you can have for this, because health is an issue which all jails, we need massive improvements.
Right.
Particularly mental illness, Mr. Chabra did mention that is something which they need to take care of. So I'm sure he will look into this and that list also.
Right.
Then my lords may see Arnesh Kumar is an issue. I have just mentioned it at page 4 of that convenience note. Next would be, my lords, parole, my lords. In Bengal, they have that the period
when
of.
You say 30% of the prison population, as it stood then, was covered by the directions. What directions are these?
My lord's own directions on 23rd December 2021.
Right.
Where it was mentioned that if Arnesh Kumar is implemented, then 30% would be almost gone. This was one of the points. Then parole and furlough, my lords. Here I am told that that period is not counted. Correct. In other states, they count it. if they are released on parole.
No. Parole is one thing. Yeah. Furlough, you don't count. Parole, you count.
Yes. So this is something which they can look at. Prison Development Board is they have yet to have the meeting. The first meeting is yet to happen.
Why is that, Mr. Chabra? Why has the Prisons Development Board not met yet?
Sir, if I may, this Prison Development Board is a new creation, and we had suggested certain agenda points based on my predecessor had suggested some agenda points.
Right.
Based on his sort of concerns. But the Prison Development Board, which has been constituted in Orissa, is a little different from what was constituted in Punjab and Telangana.
Right.
So the government, which has now, it's more of a kind of regulatory kind of body rather than a kind of empowered body. So the government has actually returned the agenda points to us to reframe. And I have had a meeting with the Home Secretary on this thing. So we are now revising our agenda points. And as per the rule, the meeting has to happen in 6 months' time. So it was constituted in January. Since I had joined new, so I had actually asked for a little bit of time to revise the agenda points. We will be having a meeting within next few days, sir. Maybe first week of June or something like that. So we will be having a meeting in next few days after revising the agenda points.
Right. Yes.
Now, there's a rule 802 in the jail manual regarding prisoners panchayats that needs to be implemented, that we have mentioned. Then vacant posts, there has been request.
Just to dwell on this prisoners panchayats. This is written into the model jail manual.
Yes. Rule 802 of the Orissa Prisons Rules 2020.
Mr. Chabra, are these panchayats actually being constituted?
Sir, I am informed that it has been done in certain jails, but I yet to see if I can get the note where it has been mentioned in a sense, like where it is on learned amicus curiae saying that where it is not being done, I'll be more enlightened. But I am informed that it has been done in certain jails, sir. But I'm not really sure how far it has gone. So maybe I'll find out about this thing, sir.
So the task before that panchayat, do you have the rule 802? Page 234. No, 235. It is to plan daily recreational programs for inmates to give us prisoners a sense of participation in prison management.
At page 236, clause 6, kitchen management, all this, so they can also have a look at all this.
Kitchen management, distribution of food, sanitation, recreation arrangements.
So these things are by and large being done. When the 3 jails I have visited personally, I find that these activities are being carried out, but whether it is a proper prisoners panchayat council is there, I will have to check up. But by and large, these activities are being carried out, and I have talked to certain prisoners also. Kitchen management is normally in their hands only, mostly, sir. So recreation also, whatever facilities are there, they are being encouraged to use that. In fact, I have also tried to add to this that I have ordered them to provide them the library and public reading halls and other sports facilities. TVs are going to be changed in the ward. So that is being done. Regarding this prisoner panchayat I will definitely check up, and we will make sure that these are implemented in letter and spirit, sir.
All right. There are very detailed provisions on elections to the panchayat and all of that.
Yes.
Yes.
Next would be, I think, here the DG of prisons has written that
That's what his
vacant
affidavits also
posts,
say.
so they need to be expedited.
That document we had filed last week.
Yes. So just needs
We
to
have
be expedited.
We have to expedite.
Skill development, again, they can look and try to improve, expand the activities.
West Bengal and Telangana are good
Yes.
practices.
Here, I think in the last meeting also, the DG had himself given a few ideas which were very good, like having stationery to be absorbed and all. So I think he can give his inputs and work on this.
Right.
Page 6, that last segregation of young offenders, that is something which is slightly serious. Most jails don't segregate. We have given the districts. This is as per the reports of the district magistrates. Here,
So, Chabra, this is another thing which you can instruct, I think, all jails about segregation of young prisoners.
We'll make sure, sir. We'll make sure. We'll issue instructions today itself.
Right.
It's noted down.
then under trials, these are the jails which have come up. This also, if you can generally instruct that under trials are not segregated from convicted prisoners.
Right.
One jail doesn't have any separate enclosure for women. I have mentioned it. Let them take note. Prisoners with mental illness. These are all from their reports. The number of prisoners I have mentioned. In some districts, it's quite high. Like district jail Keonjhar has 29. Circle jail Sambalpur has 33. Bhavani Patna 22. Koraput has 42.
In fact, sir, I would like to add my concern to this, as the learned amicus curiae has also said that I'm actually I was perturbed at this thing when I visited these jails.
Right.
And actually, this is a very, very serious problem, sir.
Right.
I don't know how to put it, that it actually shakes one person to see the condition of those prisoners. Because they are like in almost like solitary confinement kind of situations, and we have no solution to offer. The reason primarily is that we don't really have the infrastructure and the wherewithal to cater to these prisoners. We have only 4 psychiatrist posts in the entire jail doctor's strength, and out of which only 1 psychiatrist is posted. He is in Chaudhar jail. No other psychiatrist is posted. Yes, there is some provision that the district hospitals, they have been instructed by the government that their psychiatrists will go and visit the different jails. But definitely that is not a solution. They come once in a while. But many of these prisoners need daily level care. And in absence of this kind of situation, more and more people are going from a fragile mental health scenario to worse mental health scenario.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the single doctor in Chaudhar I saw, he was handling 80 patients, and he himself looked like a patient, to be blunt. He was so overwhelmed by the situation.
Naturally.
and then we come to the second part. There are lady prisoners also who are having psychiatric problem, but there is hardly any lady doctor.
Right.
Even pharmacist, and also even the doctor was quite perturbed, and he informed that when they have to perform some emergency situations with lady prisoners, it is actually violating their rights.
What can
somebody
be the
has to,
solution? I mean, is there what is called the CDMO for every district,
Yes,
right?
Chief
Yes.
District Medical Officer.
Ha.
In all the districts, there are CDMOs, they are controlling all these things.
No, but overall in Orissa itself, what is the position of psychiatrists? Who
it's
can give us
very,
that
it's
information?
very poor. In fact, the health secretary can be
We get
requested.
instruction to this specific issue. We'll
Right.
address that. Your Lordship may direct, I will take instruction.
No,
In
even
fa- in
private
fact, sir,
practitioners can be roped in for on a contractual basis, I suppose.
sir, the
This
contractual
issue of-
situation, the contractual situation itself is also sad. We have been given power to hire doctors on contract
Ha.
basis, but
Ah.
even there we are not finding any takers. In many places, like maybe in Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, etc., we will find takers.
Correct.
But in many places, doctors are not coming forward to take that job opportunity. Maybe they find other options more lucrative, or they are not interested. So our experience has been that we have not been able to find a solution. Although new 18 posts have been sanctioned by the health department recently for the doctors, but till the time we get actually doctors, and ideally speaking, every jail should have a resident psychiatrist.
I know, but if there are that many
that is the-
psychiatrists, that's the whole problem.
That is
Because
the
if you look
basic-
at a sub jail, I doubt you'll get a psychiatrist who can be a resident psychiatrist.
Yes, sir.
And number of
sir,
psychiatrists.
and sir, the problem is we have 87 jails. Odisha, all the jails which were earlier sub jails, like the district jail, so many sub jails are there. And half the population of the prison inmate is in sub jail. So if we don't have psychiatrists in sub jails, then what happens is they transfer all their psychiatric patients to bigger jails, and they get overwhelmed. So it's a solution. It's a wicked problem. I don't really see any immediate solution to it. Maybe health department can be a little more helpful to us by sending doctors in on a more regular basis. But even that is not a great solution. I am, personally speaking, I'm unable to, as of now, foresee any immediate solution to this problem. We are in for a long haul, sir.
No, but what happens to those inmates? Are they separately? Is there any medical ward where they can be kept?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In like a place like Chaudhar, there is a hospital ward. They are shifted there. In most of the places, one ward is actually kept. If the number is too high, then a ward is kept there for them. So
Like
in fact,
the Circle Jail in Sambalpur, the number is quite high, 33, and Circle Jail Koraput, it's 42.
yes, sir. So they are assigned a separate ward, sir, basically.
But then putting all of them together also is another issue.
That itself
Then
is
others
actually.
will be affected.
In fact, sir, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you
Correct.
put them with the general prisoners, then also it is dangerous. If you put
Yeah.
them all together, because their
Yeah.
problems are also, it's not psychiatric problem, is not one problem.
Yes,
It is
yes.
many kind of problems. Some are
Correct.
mild, some are very severe.
Uh-huh.
So it's actually a very wicked problem, sir.
In this context, that UN document at page 13, if it can be seen, serial number 8 of that convenience note.
Yes.
Many people enter prisons when they should have been diverted into mental health or social care from police stations or courts because they suffer from mental illness or learning disabilities. Prisons are.
This is an NGO. This Penal Reform International is actually an NGO.
Malad.
So they are not. They may be a UN accredited body. We are not sure of that.
No, I'm just saying that this may be a solution
This is
that
their solution. I mean,
Yes.
what they are trying to offer a solution.
so they can be diverted from this to maybe granted bail, or the member secretary can take up their cause and get them released on bail on this ground.
Yes, Mr. Manti, Vishwajit Manti.
Yeah, he's there on.
Is there?
Mr. Manti? Namaste. So, can the OSLA play a more proactive role on prisoners with mental illnesses?
Yes, sir. We do.
I think each can be assigned one council to each. Like even in the Koraput district jail, there are as many as 42. Can you organize a psychiatrist, even a private psychiatrist, to visit this Circle Jail Koraput, give you a detailed assessment on each of the prisoners, And on that assessment, move applications before the concerned court for bail.
Yes, sir, I'll do, sir.
Ha. I think we can rope in the legal services authority for this.
That is better.
Ha. Then we'll have an expert report, an assessment of the person. You'll have to organize the visit, but you'll have to organize a visit by the psychiatrist, even from Bhubaneswar or wherever they are.
From SCB Medical College Hospital, we can arrange.
That's right. But you'll have to organize that whole thing. I think
Yes.
pay them commensurate with the time that they're spending on this.
The concerned CDMOs also may be directed, my lord, at least to take.
Yeah, I think
Legal
they'll
service.
coordinate with the CDMO.
Yes.
They'll
Yes.
coordinate with the CDMO.
So there are certain NGOs also working in this regard, sir.
Correct. Correct. Madhyam is one. In fact, Madhyam had sent us a letter which we have referred to in one of our orders.
So we will also facilitate this because this will solve our problem only. We will be
Right.
very happy to sort of coordinate
All right.
and organize these visits and whatever facilitation we can do. Because this will be actually a service to humanity in that sense that those
Correct.
wretched souls, some of them are like not in control of themselves. So
Right.
it's actually pathetic.
Right. Right.
So
How many are there in total? What's the total number? This prisoners with mental illnesses?
We'll quickly add it up.
Because it
Page
seems to
7,
cross
8.
100 easily.
Page 7, 8, and 9.
this is as per the reports of the DM.
Correct.
So with time, there must have been some change.
Right. But these visits by the district judges and DLSs has helped.
Yes, definitely, man.
Yeah.
In fact, I
At
must
least
say that
three
the
places
positive.
they should be first go and verify this jail.
Sir, first,
This Sambalpur and Koraput and that Sambalpur. Yes, Sambalpur and Koraput. These
Because
two
of
places.
lack of time, actually, I don't mention the positives. I only focus on what improvement. But there has been a lot of
Correct. Because we saw all those photographs and videographs
yes
which were sent
by the
these-
DL. That's the reason why I have not made it a part. That's all work in progress in some cases, but they are really
like
on
even
the
in
job.
Chaudhar could see some tangible
Yes.
results. I think your Mr. Chabra, your visit I think has helped. It has expedited.
Sir, it's your directions and your involvement which has really helped. In fact, I second learned amicus curiae in Angul jail. Actually, I saw that the kind of toilets and the bathrooms which have been prepared would compare themselves favorably to any hotel also. Although the maintenance is still required.
Right.
In fact, one thing which has actually helped in certain districts is that there is some mineral development fund with the collectors.
Right.
And
Right.
Angul and the western districts have that facility. So wherever the collectors have been helpful with those funds, they have
Right.
been able to give us a lot of support, sir. So
Oh.
I'm very happy to see that those kind of things are happening.
Right.
Maybe we can, because funds and resources are always a problem. We can prepare good toilets, but ultimately the maintenance will go down over a period of time if we don't
Correct.
have sufficient resources and manpower.
Correct.
So,
In fact, in
as
our
of
order
now-
of yes. Yes.
As of
Carry
now,
on.
it's sir.
No, carry on, sir. Carry on.
So it's actually helped us quite a lot. But I must say that this is still a kind of temporary solution. Because the manpower required to maintain the level of cleanliness in the toilets is just not there with us. So the sweepers which are required and all, the strength is very less. So only permanent solution to this is outsourcing. And we are moving towards that, sir. For 40 jails, the government has already given us go ahead to do the outsourcing. And we are in the process of preparing the tender document for the outsourcing services. And like in Chaudhar, sir, there were 8 posts of sweepers earlier, which is actually, as it is inadequate for a jail of size of Chaudhar, where there are 1100 inmates. As of now, there are only 5 sweepers available there, and who are totally inadequate to take care of the cleanliness. Now it looks very nice, sir, because the pressure is on them, the focus and spotlight is there. So they are doing the job. But over a period of 6 months or 1 year, the things are bound to become a little less focused. So
Right.
there we need the outsourcing again, and we are moving towards outsourcing of cleaning services as a long-term solution to problems.
All right, sir. So we'll move to this Biju Patnaik open air prison. The amicus curiae points out it is still underutilized, sir. There are only 33. The capacity is 125, and we only have 33 inmates there. Is there any move to shift anyone there, sir?
Actually, sir, there are a lot of convicts who are on leave. Once they are starting to return, then this will be filled up, and probably it's not really feasible to shift other prisoners as of now unless they are fully vetted. This thing. So that will be a kind of longish process. Once the convicts come back.
Actually, we had highlighted this in our December order, and it's almost 5 months now.
Okay, sir.
So would this not have been enough time to?
I'll just recheck it, and sir, I will get cracking on this, and we will see if it can be people can be added there, sir.
I think here I would request Mr. Chabra to have a fresh look at what his predecessor had done. They are saying that the convicts who have gone out because of COVID, once they return, they will use it. But they're stuck with that. I think it's a good prison. It can be utilized to its optimum level. It's a model prison in the form that it's an open air prison.
Correct.
And the Home Secretary, he is repeatedly saying there's a proposal of the Prisons Department to have more additional open air prisons that the government is not acting upon because they're not utilizing this.
Right.
So regarding this, we are moving around in circles. Once this is fulfilled, then additional prisons of this nature can come up. So the proposal by the DG prisons for new prisons of this nature is also now hit a roadblock because of this.
Right.
So he can have a fresh.
I will have a relook totally, and then I'll formulate the strategy.
Next is directions not complied, my lords.
Mr. Monty, this police station duty lawyer system.
Yes, ma'am.
You're working on that, or?
Yes, in as many as 419 police stations, 418 police stations
Yes.
have a duty law system in place. And
419.
418.
Okay.
And there are, including cyber police station, energy police station, and
200
marine police station. There are total 619 police stations across the state. And if we ignore these 74 cyber, marine, and energy police stations, we'll have traditional police station. So that number is 540. And presently, we have put in place the system in 418 police stations.
Right.
And we will be completing the exercise in all the police stations by 10th June of.
All right.
That affidavit has been filed by the secretary also.
Yes.
In this regard.
Yes, I have filed this.
19th May.
19th
May 2022. Mr. Mohanty has filed an affidavit. The hard copy is with me if your lordship is having.
We don't seem to have it.
So around 200 odd are left. They'll do it by June 10th. That's what he says.
Right. You can give us a copy of that.
Yes.
You've seen this affidavit.
Yes, yes.
Osla.
Yesterday evening we got.
So this Anesh Kumar can be used by these lawyers too.
Yes.
Ah. Yes, Mr. Ushra.
This serial number 2 concrete measures
Yeah,
regarding
that we discussed.
Then release of prisoners under permanent parole. That also they can revert on the next date.
Medical and mental we've discussed.
Yes. The next at page 10, serial number 6. This also they need to, whether they have fully complied, like uploading on the website regarding Joginder Singh's directions. This they need to, I think Mr. Das can have a look at this, whether it's fully complied. Because that the Home Secretary would be, Home Department would be involved.
Yes, my lord. In fact, I have also asked the concerned department whether they are repeatedly uploading it or not, my lord. But
Mr.
Chabra, is he here with us? Mr. Chabra, I must mention something. The Justice Uday Lalit, who's the executive chairperson of the NALSA, mentioned at a meeting that one of the model jails that he came across during his numerous visits was the model jail at Bonzi in Haryana. And he mentioned how in Bonzi, because of the kiosks set up, they are e-kiosks. A prisoner can actually use that kiosk to find out the latest status of his case, look at all the orders, and if I'm not mistaken, he even said he can look at the pleadings. He may not be able to get copies and all that, but he can immediately access the information. So if you can even pick up 1 or 2 jails in Orissa to replicate that model.
So it is already there in certain jails, sir. In fact, the 3 jails I visited, I saw, and it is functioning in all the jails. We have those kiosks. At least 1 kiosk I saw in every
jail. This is in
jail.
Chaudwar.
Chaudwar, Angul, Puri, in all these 3 places I saw, and I think I am informed by my staff that it is already available in about 20 jails. But we can add it to every jail. We can make sure that at least 1 is there in every jail. It is already there in certain jails, sir.
All right. Or maybe you can even talk to your counterpart in Haryana to find out if there are some features there which may be incorporated here.
Sir, I am in fact planning to visit some of these jails to know the best practices and acquaint myself. So in a short while, I will be probably making a trip to maybe Tihar jail and Bhonsi, as you, sir, has suggested, and maybe 1 or 2 more. So
I think Telangana is also, we were told by those experts who interacted with us in the previous hearing that Telangana is something that you can look at.
So definitely I'll be visiting these jails, and obviously we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Whatever best practices are there, we will definitely incorporate in Odisha, sir.
All right.
Then Jharsuguda, my lords, may see page 16 of that note. There are some adverse reports regarding women prisoners. Page 16, serial number 2, under the heading of sanitation.
Right.
There's no bathroom, my lords. They are all bathing in the open, and that's something which which can be looked into.
Right.
Otherwise, I think with the intervention of the court, other jails, things are looking good.
Okay.
In most cases, they are working on the infrastructure. It's all work in progress.
Right.
Page 16 and 17 of that convenience note,
Right.
the relevant portions are there.
So that no doctor has been provided and only
Yes,
one pharmacist.
my lords.
This is the Jharsuguda jail, right?
Yes, my lords. It is the sub-jail Jharsuguda.
Sir, is a strict control being kept on the quality of food, sir? Mr. Chabra?
Sir, we are trying to correct that situation wherever we have found these complaints. In fact, in pursuance of the orders of the Honorable Court, and I also went through the convenience note, and whichever points were raised about whichever jail, in fact,
Right.
I sent all my senior officers. I visited the Chaudhar, Angul, and Puri jail,
Right.
and the other field staffs at the senior level, they were all distributed with those jails to check up on all those points, sir.
All
So a lot of people have gone in last 1 week and submitted their reports. We are going through that reports. There are improvements. There are definitely some areas where we need to do a little more. But now I have got reports from all those jails which were pointed out in the convenience note earlier, and we will be correcting all the defects pointed out.
Right.
Most of these things have been taken care of. Wherever there is one or two things remaining, I'll make sure that we will be able to come up with solutions.
So on these issues, I think this can form the part of the agenda of the Prison Development Board.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
That and even increasing the allocation of amounts per prisoner, I think those are to be revised.
These are actually as per the jail manual has mentioned that. I'm not really sure whether actually the problem is the quality of food or inadequacy of food. This is something I have to look into this, because in certain places it was mentioned, most of the places it is quality of food was adversely commented upon. In
Right.
one or two places I have found that it was written that it was inadequate. So that is something I have to look at, because there are certain diet has been actually prescribed. If
Right.
that much diet is being given,
Right.
then it should not be inadequate, because that is as per the norms which are fixed overall in the country.
Right.
So I will have to go through all those adverse reports and see wherever this issues are there and how to resolve them, sir.
All right. All right.
Just to add about Jharsuguda, sir, I had sent my additional IG. He had visited Jharsuguda jail recently, and he's here with me now. That position has been resolved.
Rectified. Okay.
Rectified. Sir.
I see. I see. In the female ward.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So there is this report that we've received from the District and Sessions Judge Anugul in a sealed cover. This was an inquiry report pursuant to the directions we issued about the complaint made by some inmates of Atamalek sub-jail. So that inquiry report, I'll ask copies to be handed over to both.
I'll share it.
So, and the corrective action will need to be taken. I think you've already placed one superintendent under suspension.
Nabrangpur.
And I think something more will need to be done.
That last affidavit we have mentioned.
Yes.
I think that was regarding one particular person who was trying to. Thereafter, we don't know what has happened.
No. So I'll ask copies to be handed over to both the amicus curiae. I think right in the beginning you say pursuant to the directions issued by this court. on 5th May 2022. The District and Sessions Judge Anugul has submitted a report dated 18th May 2022, enclosing original statements of 12 inmates and 2 staff of the Attamalik sub-jail. Full stop. The report has been, you say the seal cover containing the report was opened. The report has been perused by the court. Full stop. Copies of the report be made available to Mr. D.K. Manti, learned additional government advocate, and Mr. Gautam Mishra, learned amicus curiae. Paragraph. Mr. Tarun Chabra, learned DG Prisons, who was present in virtual mode, states that he will immediately act on the said report by taking an appropriate action against the person involved in the incident of the assault on a convict, as mentioned in the report. After copies are made and provided, the report will again be placed in the seal cover and kept with the register of this court. Paragraph. Affidavits have been filed. Affidavits dated 20th May 2022 have been filed by the Deputy Inspector General of Prisons and the Secretary, Orissa State Legal Services Authority, OSLSA, regarding status of compliance with the earlier directions issued by this court. The learned amicus curiae has also prepared a detailed convenience note for the consideration of the court. Paragraph. At today's hearing, the court first considered the issue of overcrowding of prisons. Full stop. The note of the amicus curiae refers to 2 sub-jails, namely the Baliguda sub-jail and the Jashpur sub-jail, where even now the prison population is more than 100% of the carrying capacity of the said sub-jails. So, Mr. Chabra, the DG Prisons, is conscious of this position and has offered a temporary solution for decongesting both prisons, both the sub-jails, and has also undertaken to re-examine the earlier suggestion whether, pending the actual building of additional capacity of the jails and sub-jails, there can be a temporary solution found for accommodating prisoners, apart from shifting prisoners from one jail to a neighboring jail. Paragraph. In the course of this discussion, a concern was raised about the resistance faced when applications are filed before the concerned courts for shifting of an inmate from one jail to another. Stop. Considering that the problem of overcrowding of jails in Orissa is a real and serious one, and it is going to take some time before the additional capacity can be constructed. If the request for shifting is made, if the request is made for shifting an inmate from a jail to another sub-jail which is not more than 30 kilometers away, then the court expects such requests to be considered in its proper perspective by the court concerned, keeping in view the tremendous inconvenience that the inmate faces in an overcrowded jail. So all, Mr. Chabra, these will all be within a 30-kilometer radius. This,
Sir, actually, I only gave the example of Soro to Bhadrak, that is 30 kilometers. Unfortunately, in many places, like even Baripada, where we have already shifted 109 prisoners from Bhadrak, is more than 100 kilometers. So actually, if we place a limit of kilometers, then it may not really help us in a sense, because we'll hardly find any jail which is within 30 kilometers and also has the capacity to take this thing. So if that can be the
can we see a
kilometer,
neighboring jail in a neighboring district?
yeah, whichever is the near closest
I think
or nearby.
that line you can modify
visible.
if the request is
Yes.
made to shift an inmate to a jail in a neighboring district at the nearest possible location.
Nearest possible is
nearest
actually
possible.
the.
Yeah, then such request should be considered in its proper perspective, keeping in view the severe problems faced by the inmate in an overcrowded jail. It is emphasized that this is only a temporary solution pending the creation of the additional capacities in the jails. Stop. Apart from the above two sub-jails, there are 4 jails, namely the Fulbani District Jail, the Bhadrak Special Sub-Jail, the Kamakya Nagar Sub-Jail, and the Malkangiri Sub-Jail, where the prison population is between 50 to 100% in excess of the carrying capacity of those jails, even as of today. Stop. 15 district jails, special jails, and sub-jails face the situation of excess prison population, prison population where the excess is between 20 to 50%. Full stop. Mr. Chabra shows the court that each of these situations is receiving the highest attention of the prison authorities, and wherever possible, applications will be filed before the concerned courts for shifting of the excess population to the nearest possible jail to tide over the critical situation. Paragraph. The issue of prisoners with mental illnesses was highlighted during today's hearing. What is the total number?
It is 286.
There are as many as 286 prisoners with mental illnesses.
So there will be probably more, sir. I have a feeling there will be more. I can maybe check up and
from the jails which have reports. He may be correct.
Yeah, there are at least 286 prisoners with mental illnesses.
I feel there must be more than 500, sir. Overall, that's my unconfirmed this thing. I can give the figures,
which has come through the visits undertaken by the secretaries of the DLSAs and district judges to the various jails and sub-jails. Mr. Chabras anticipates that this number may be even higher, and the range of around 500. Full stop. The statistics provided to this court show that there are as many as 42 prisoners in Circle Jail Koraput, 33 in the Circle Jail Sambalpur, 29 in the District Jail Kionjar, 22 in the District Jail Bhavanipatna, 19 in the Special Sub-Jail Bonaigad, and 14 in the District Jail at Anugu, and 14 in the Sub-Jail at Nayagad, 15 in the Special Jail at Rourkela, who have been diagnosed with mental illnesses that require urgent attention. It is a matter of deep concern and a concern that is shared by Mr. Chhabra. that there's just one psychiatrist in Chaudhar Central Jail who's expected to cater to the needs of all prisoners with mental illnesses throughout the state. Full stop. This situation is clearly unsustainable, considering that it is physically impossible for just one psychiatrist to attend to all prisoners with mental illnesses. Paragraph.
The visits were by the DMs.
Acha, not DLS.
He had collated, member secretary collated the reports, and on the basis of that.
Just visits of the DMs, you say. All right. District magistrates, bracket DMs. A suggestion that has come forth from the learned amicus curiae and which the court is willing to accept is to have the Orissa state or OSLSA to step in to arrange for visits by psychiatrists to each of the jails where there are prisoners with mental illnesses, to have an assessment done of their present condition and what urgent measures need to be taken to alleviate their distress. Full stop. The member secretary Ursula, who's present in virtual mode, has undertaken to arrange for such visits by specialist psychiatrists, not just from government public health facilities, but even private health facilities. The expenses which will be defrayed by OSLSA. Full stop. The OSLSA will then follow up on such individual assessment, reports of individual assessment by filing an appropriate application before the concerned court on behalf of the prisoner, enclosing such assessments and praying for appropriate orders from the court concerned. Particularly for interim or permanent bail.
There was something regarding the single lawyer which my lord observed. Single lawyer to be allotted also.
Each such prisoner with mental illness will be assigned an individual lawyer from the panel of the OSLSA. Paragraph. Mr. Mohanty informs the court. No, then you say the issue concerning the court's attention was drawn to Rule 802 of the Orissa Model Jail Manual 2020, which provides for constitution of Prisoners Panchayat Council. Mr. Chabra has undertaken to examine the position of the constitution of such councils in the jails, since that would address a large number of problems faced by inmates within jails, which can be then brought to the notice of the jail administration for remedial action. The code emphasizes that since this is a statutory requirement, it has to be complied with both in letter and spirit. And on the next date of hearing, the court will be informed of the constitution of such prisoners' panchayat councils in every circle jail, district jail, special sub-jail or sub-jail, as mandated in Rule 802, paragraph. As regards the Prison Development Board, bracket PDB, Mr. Chabra informed the court that in view of the draft agenda proposed by his predecessor having to be revised, a meeting has not yet been held. Gustav, however, he expects the meeting to be held positively by 15th June. The 6-month period is coming to an end, right?
Within the month of June, sir, definitely.
Not 2, sir, because 6 months period, I think it was set up in January. Or was
Sir,
it
the meeting has to happen by before end of June, sir, and
Right.
we will do it as quickly as possible.
Right. Will happen very soon and definitely before the end of June 2022. So the court expects the PDB to take up on its agenda the issue of the budgetary allocations per prisoner, which requires revision, among other issues, including infrastructure, overcrowding, medical facilities, and the like. Full stop. The deliberations of the meeting of the PDB be placed before the court on the next date.
My lord, can
Yeah. On information being provided to prisoners about their cases, Mr. Chabra states that during his visit to the jails in Chaudhar, Anugul, and Puri, visits to the district jails
yes, ma'am.
in Chaudhar, Anugul, and Puri. Central jail in Chaudhar
Central jail in Chaudhar.
and the district jails in Anugul and Puri.
Yeah, circle jail in Chaudhar and district jail in Puri and Anugul.
Anugul, all right. Circle jail. in
That is
Chaudhar.
circle jail Chaudhar.
Right. He did notice such e-kiosks. And his information is that there are around 20 jails in Orissa that have such e-kiosks. He states that he will be visiting jails in other states to ascertain the best practices in this area and ensure that those are made available in the jails in Orissa. Full stop. Basically, a prisoner must have easy and ready access to information regarding his own case, as well as orders of the concerned court in his case. Full stop. The paragraph. On the issue of vacant posts of medical staff, the position of 3 psychiatrists are still lying vacant, and 31 sanctioned posts of medical officers are still vacant. Full stop. Although it is stated that the DG of prisons has made a request to the state government in this regard, the response thereto is not known. A direction is issued to the Home Department, Government of Orissa, to immediately act upon the above requests of the DG prisons and expedite the process of filling up the vacant posts of medical officers and psychiatrists.
Women Health
Health department may also
Home
be
and-
directed.
The Home Department as well as the Health Department.
Health and Family Welfare.
Health and Family Welfare Department. All right.
In fact, sir, health department has also issued in certain cases, they have issued the instructions to CDMOs to send the psychiatrist and the general doctors also. So their instructions have already come, but the frequency is not as desired, sir. So it is supposed to be, let's say, once a week. It is not happening once a week. That's the only problem. The directions have been given by the health department and home department also.
Mr. Chabra says that although directions have been issued by the Health Department and the Home Department for increasing the frequency of the visits by the medical personnel to the jails, that is not happening as was directed. Full stop. This aspect has to be immediately examined by both the Health Department and Home Department to ensure that the instructions are strictly carried out.
And the concerned CDMO may be put to task because CDMOs are regulating all these things.
Yeah, the responsibility should be fixed on the concerned Chief District Medical Officer, bracket CDMO, in each of the districts in this regard. Full stop. A further circular order be issued to that effect forthwith. A concern has been expressed that in at least 6 sub-jails in Champua, Kamakhya Nagar, Banki, Jajpur, Dharamgarh and Jaipur, under trials were not segregated from convicted inmates. Full stop. Further, young offenders in the age group of 18 to 21 are not separated from adults in jails of several districts, including Bargarh, Malkangiri, Kyonjhar, Bhadrak, Cuttack, Jajpur, Kalahandi, Koraput, and Noapada. Mr. Chabra has assured the court that but a third aspect here is that the reports collated by the member secretary OSLSA reveal that there are no separate enclosures for women prisoners in the district jail in Bhawanipatna. And even the report from the visit of the DLSA to Jharsuguda reveals that the women's ward is in a pathetic condition. As regards the jail in Jharsuguda is concerned, Mr. Chabra states that his additional DIG did visit the said jail.
Additional IG
has visited the said jail, and corrective measures have already been taken. Full stop. As regards the issue regarding segregation and the jail in Bhawanipatna, he states that steps will immediately be taken to rectify the situation and that he will be issuing instructions in that regard. Paragraph. This court had, in its order dated 23rd December 2021, pointed out that the Biju Patnaik open air prison, which has a capacity of 125, remained largely underutilized. Full stop. Even today, the position as of 30th April 2022 is that the said prison has a mere 33 prisoners. Full stop. Mr. Chabra stated that once the COVID-19 situation totally eased and convicts return and as and when convicts return to the jails, the prison population in the open air prison would increase. Full stop. The court would urge that this issue receives the highest attention of the prison department, and on the next date, the court must be informed of a substantial increase in the prison population in the open air prison, prisoner population in the open air prison. Paragraph. This court had also issued detailed directions regarding the duty lawyers having to be attached to every police station, and of the directions issued by the Supreme Court in Arnesh Kumar vs. State of Bihar, 2014, 8 SCC 273, having to be followed in letter and spirit. The court was informed by Mr. Vishwajit Manti, Secretary of OSLSA, that 418 police stations, in 418 police stations in Orissa, the duty lawyer system has already been implemented. The names and mobile numbers of the duty lawyers are stated to be displayed on a board in a prominent place in each of these PSS. Full stop. He expects the duty lawyer system to be implemented in all the remaining police stations by the 10th of June 2022. The duty lawyers will be given an orientation. I think you've given them an orientation, Mr. Monty.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes. through district legal services authority.
through the DLSS, emphasizing the need to ensure compliance with the directions issued by the Supreme Court in Arnesh Kumar Supra. The orientation will also be for constant interaction with the effective interaction with persons brought into police stations and proper advice as to their options. Full stop. What else needs to be provided? Mr. Chabra informed the court that after he took over, he has ensured that in every jail there is a space designated for a library oblique reading room. Is it there in every jail, Mr. Chabra? This reading room and library? Or should we say that you will make sure it is there?
Yes, sir. It is not in every jail. There is space in, let's say, in Chaudhar and Puri and Angul jail. There are places where we can make it happen.
Right.
But I'm not really clear on in how many jails this is. But we will make sure that we will have some space for a public library or books reading kind of situation.
Mr. Chabra says that efforts will be made to earmark some space in every jail, sub-jail for library books and reading materials to be kept for prisoners.
In addition, sir, if I may add, I am also planning to introduce gyms in all the jails because that kind of physical activity also helps in release of kind of energy.
Pent up energy.
Pent up energy. Gyms and I have already instructed. Yes, sir.
Yeah, in other jails, I'm sure I don't know if it's happening in Orissa. They have sports activities and all kinds of.
So sports activities are here also, volleyball, some kind of badminton. It's always depending on the jail campus. But one thing actually also concerns me that all these activities are only for male prisoners. For female, because there are very small wards are there. So we are not having much for female prisoners. So I have tried to introduce that even the library, because they will not be allowed to integrate with the male prisoners in the library. So a kind of small library in the female ward itself, separate library, wherever possible, badminton courts and yoga and some kind of gym with some kind of equipment. I'm planning whatever is possible, table tennis tables, etc. I'm also starting that from our welfare fund itself, we are buying a little bigger TVs because TVs in many of these wards are very small, 14-inch old-time TVs.
Right.
Many of them are not functioning. So in fact, I have already sort of given directions that even if funds are not available from the government fund, from welfare fund itself, we will buy TVs and this thing so that they are kept engaged.
Are your equipments for video conferencing the modern equipments? I mean, are they functioning well?
Video conferencing is because those were purchased not too much in distant past. So those are good, sir. Those are good. And wherever needed, we are improving that. Sir.
All right. Anything more we need to?
Only thing that page 10, serial number 6.
Yeah, PTV.
Regarding
PTV.
The directions in Joginder Singh, 23rd December, my lord had said that those arrests have to be uploaded. If my lord would see the order dated 23rd December.
Right.
Paragraph 47 to 49.
December.
The relevant portion would be in paragraph 48 and just above para 49.
Let's take it.
Joginder Kumar's case, my lord, had relied on.
The amicus query points out that despite the directions issued by this court in its order dated 23rd December 2021 in para 48 about the police authorities having to strictly comply with the directions issued by the Supreme Court in Joginder Kumar's state of UP, AIR 1994 SC 1349, and the subsequent amendments by which Section 41 capital A to 41 capital D was introduced in the CRPC. Those provisions are not yet being strictly implemented. Stop that. It is reiterated the direction to the police to publish every month on its website the relevant information of persons arrested is reiterated.
May I intervene with your WhatsApp permission?
Yes, please.
My lord, I only seek a sort of clarification regarding the power of the magistrate to reduce or modify the bail order. Respect to the accused already released on bail, but they have not been released because of non-formation with the bail bonds in CBT bonds. The direction was given by your lordship. I ordered dated 23rd December at para number 7.
7, 1 minute.
That is in consonance with the SOP of the NARSA.
What? Para 7, yes, please.
The last line, last sentence, my lord. The member secretary was asked specifically their release by getting panel counsel to file further application for the court which granted such bail to modify the condition in terms of the judgment of the Supreme Court on this issue.
Right.
That is in consonance with that SOP issued by the NALSA. That is at 3.3.2 at page number 7 of the NALSA SOP.
Page 7 of
NALSA SOP. UTP is released on bail by the court but have not been able to furnish UT.
Right.
The UTRC may recommend the trial court to examine the regime why the accused is not furnished CVT plus bail bonds, and if he or she is unable to do so due to poverty, then the trial court may consider reducing bail amount on the application of the lawyer under section 440 of the CRPC or release of personal bond.
Yes.
The UTRC are recommending, but their recommendations have not been properly implemented by the magistrate on the ground that they don't have the power to modify their own order. They are taking the help of section 362, which depicts a bar regarding the authority of the trial court or the court which has passed an order. That is section 362, which says that the court cannot alter its own judgment or order. So, section may I draw your lordship's kind attention to section 440 of the CRPC. Subsection 2.
Yes.
Subsection 2. The High Court or Court of Justice may direct that the bail required by a police officer or magistrate be reduced. So it is the power given to the High Court or Court of Session. They have concurrent.
But the application can be moved to the sessions judge.
Yes, either before the Session Judge or the High Court.
Or,
But the direction has been given that the application.
all right.
So any.
You say in modification of the direction issued with this court in para 7 of its order dated 23rd December 2021, it is directed that the member secretary OCLSA will felicitate the release of prisoners who are unable to be released on bail despite being granted bail on account of their inability to furnish bail bonds by filing applications before the Court of Sessions or the High Court under section 440(2) of the CRPC for modifying the conditions in terms of both the judgments of the Supreme Court as well as the guidelines issued by the NALSA in this regard. All right. Thank you. We'll do that. That's it.
Sir, if I may add a little bit one observation, sir.
Please.
That the suggestion which has been made recently by OSLSA is actually going to help quite a lot, because I found many such cases in the prisons I have visited, and that is the general observation. One thing more, I noticed that in certain jails, the problem actually we have is the under trial population, not the convict population. So anything which helps us to decongest the under trials population will go a long way. Right. And actually the prisons are actually run with the help of convicts only.
Correct.
So if the convicts are released more, we may not be able to run the prison itself, given our staff strength. So one thing regarding under trials I have noticed is, sir, there are jails in which like even people who are very sick and quite aged also, they are also in the jail. Maybe if the next visits of DSLSA in the jails, they can compile a list of all those people who are either old in age or they are not in good health. Even there are ladies pregnant who are denied bail. So if those lists can be made, maybe on a priority basis, they can be let out, even on the humanitarian ground itself, or taking the provision of the law where 60 and 65 is the age limit. There are many people beyond that age also there. So if that can actually decongest to a certain extent, sir.
Right. You say a suggestion has been received from the DG prisons that the DLSs who organize the visits by panel concept or themselves visit the prisons should compile a list of under trial prisoners who may be infirm, sick, or aged, or in need of urgent medical attention, including pregnant women. And on that basis, advise moving the court for bail on medical grounds. This suggestion will also be acted upon by the Secretary OSLSA, who will instruct the DLSAs accordingly.
One more small request.
Yes.
Para 17 of the convenience note, that skill development.
So that is that PDV.
Yes. So in the prison development board, they should also look at skill development. I think that was
we'll
and the range of activities need to be increased. There's already a proposal.
Right.
That needs to be explained.
That is on our agenda. Actually,
Yes.
that has to be, in fact, government had made some observations about that. So we are working on those observations. Workable projects we are kind of identifying.
All right.
So that these are implementable projects kind of.
All right.
In the PDB skill development, that word only needs to be added.
Right. You say the court also notes its satisfaction. You can add that. I'll add it when I correct it.
You've given this in a soft version.
Of the various measures that have been taken in the jails in Orissa pursuant to the orders issued by this court, which has reflected considerable improvement in the condition. This is reflected in the report submitted to the court by the district magistrates and the DLSAs and even the district judges who have undertaken visits, all of which has been collated and presented to this court for today's hearing. Full stop. Nevertheless, much more needs to be done, but the further directions issued by this court should help in that direction.
We have given everything in a pen drive in soft version, the convenience note and all other.
All right. All right. So 28th July to 8th July.
Yes.
That will give us 3 months, 2 months time. 28th July, sir. By which time the PDB would have also met.
Sure, sir.
All right.
That will be at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Correct. At 2 p.m. Right. Thank you, Mr. Chabra. Thank you.
We are all very great.
Sir, I'm
Thank you.
grateful for the Honorable Court's time and direction, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to take a 5-minute break. We'll just come back in 10 minutes. Mr. Samantarai,
No.
you will be appearing for the stage.
Yes, I'm extremely sorry, my lords. I failed to comply with Lordship's order. In fact, your Lordship's registry had given me the pen drive within time, my lords. And the pen drive contained, my lords, all the reports issued by the my lords, submitted by the district legal services authorities, along with videographs and photographs, my lords. And my lords, it was somehow, my lords, in my office mistake that they could not forward it to the concerned officers, and somehow I could retrieve it and talk to them, my lords. And with 3 officers, 1 special secretary, 2 additional secretaries, along with us working on the, my lords, report submitted. So also the vacancy positions, my lords. Only I would request to Lordship to grant us some time to.
No. Have you got this? See, my research assistants,
Yes.
they work day and night and they've prepared this huge
Yes,
compilation.
lords. It
You
has
got
been
it?
assimilated. I have got it, my lords.
It's all neatly indexed.
Yes.
So they have made it easy for you
You're right, my lords.
because every district we had asked them to visit 1 district headquarters hospital,
And the 3
1
peripheral,
CHC
my
and
lords.
2 PHCs.
Yeah.
Facility wise, they have given us information
Yes, my lord.
on a whole set of 6 or 7 items. Right?
And my lords, what I find, my lords, so far as
No, but there are some things here which are very disturbing, sir.
yes, my lord, doctors and nurses staff, my lord, paramedic staff, so far as infrastructure and medicine are, it's all right, my lord. So far as presence of doctors is, my lord, very pathetic, and paramedic staff, including
No,
nurses.
ambulance is not there in many places, sir.
Yes, my lord.
And cleanliness, toilets are broken in most places. Toilets
Right,
are
my lord.
broken,
Right, my lord.
and drugs are not available. Doctors are not in attendance. Nurses are not there. Sir, in Cuttack, chemotherapy has been stopped in the district headquarters hospital. Chemotherapy has been stopped, and proxy attendance is going on. The doctor is not there. Some proxy is there.
Yes, my lord. And that is where your lordship's first order of lordships had pointed out regarding the private practice by the doctors, my lord.
Some districts are very bad, sir. Anugul, not only the DHH, but the CHC, PHCs
Yes.
are all bad.
Yes.
Likewise,
sir.
Cuttack, they've gone to Tangi, that CHC in Tangi,
My lord.
and Baranga and Mangrajpur PHCs. In fact, there are going to be more PHCs, but we asked them to go only to 2.
3 PSs, my lord. 3 PSs, 1 district, altogether 4 places.
There could be more PHCs which need to be looked at.
Right, my lord.
So, but how do you propose to go about this, sir? You'll have to set up teams in every district to the CDMO has to do this.
Yes, my lord. Your lordship, now the 3 responsible officers are also present today, my lords. And my lords, I will come up with all these details, my
See,
lords.
all the information you are supposed to gather are DLSAs of that.
Again, my lord, I am highly obliged, my lords. I have also got it.
Because
my lords.
nobody's going to give you, this is like an audit report. Nobody's going to give you such a detailed feedback on
Exactly,
every
Lord. I'm
PHC,
very
every
happy that
CHC, every district health hospital.
Our job has been, my lords, more easy, my lords.
So you can go targeted. You can target where you want to focus.
But so far as these, my lords,
So something that have not been understood, I have not understood. Should not every PHC have at least a diesel generator set? There are many PHCs that have no power
supply,
backup,
my lords, right?
no power backup, no telephone, no internet, no ambulance. How can we call ourselves 2022
Right, my lords, right.
Public Health Service of 2022?
Yeah. Your lordship may give us some time and
May I submit, my lord?
Yes.
Cuttack district Mangarajpur PSC is locked.
No, not only
It's
that,
locked.
sir. Not only that, not that PHC. There, I'll tell you, there are some others
There are
also.
many PSC, but I tell Cuttack district Mangarajpur.
No, because you are aware of it. I'm just saying this
No,
exercise
I have gone through. I have gone through the report.
Yes.
My submission is, my lord, sir. If my first prayer is granted, then
Sham
fifth-
Sundarpur in Bhadrak, there's a place PHC called Sham Sundarpur.
Yes.
Same thing, locked up, not opened at all.
yes,
They found it shut. Sorry, what was your suggestion?
my suggestion is, if my first prayer, that is fill up all the sanction posts.
That is not the only prayer, sir, but that certainly will be there.
This court took that prayer.
No,
because
but we are
that
going beyond it because only see what is happening
Very good.
today. Sir, the problem is this: because private practice is also going on. On rolls there are 7 doctors, but in attendance there is only one doctor.
one doctor, my lords, right?
And then some hospitals, the proxy signature is happening. So even if you fill up posts, how do you make them come there is the question,
One,
sir.
my lords, right?
May I give one example, my lord?
Bedipur,
Malcolm-
there is a PHC in Bedipur.
Yes.
That was also locked.
Yes.
Many places there are no nurses, not even one.
Yes, yes, my lords.
I don't know how we can call ourselves health facilities, sir. That's right. And the stock register is not there in many places.
My lords, on the basis of lordship's report, my lords, we call for my lords, information
No,
from
but
the-
you'll also have to see wherever doctors were found absent in November. What is he's the CDMO? Or?
Yes, it's special secretary, my lords.
Sir, Dr. Dinabandhu Panda, Sir, Special Secretary, Medical Services, Health Department.
So what you'll have to do is, this is a November visit. These visits were taken up in November. So these were random visits. You should issue a memo to each of those facilities where doctors were found absent. They may have an explanation. Somebody could say, no, I came at 10 o'clock. This visit happened at 9:30 something. But nevertheless, you must issue a memo. That is one. Wherever you have found that the facility was not there, you have to issue every PHC, every CHC, every DHH. Wherever the shortcomings are pointed out, you issue a memo asking what is the current position, what was the explanation, why nurses were not there, why staff was not there, why doctors were not there. They have to give you an explanation. But you have to do a follow-up. You have to do a follow-up of constituting teams. District-wise, you'll have to constitute teams, crack teams. It can't be of the local people. They will try and tell you everything is hunky-dory. You must have a way of having your own people who will make surprise visits. Otherwise, it will never get set right, sir. You do that at your level. You submit a detail. I want PHC-wise If this is 100 and how many pages? 128 pages. Your reply must be 250 pages.
Obviously.
I want for every facility, use the same format.
Yeah.
For every facility, tell us, like he says, CDMO was on a visit to Burla, ADMO was present at the hospital, doctors were present. Okay, there are some places where, I'll just tell you this. This is PHC Palsama, right? Against doctor, you say doctors were absent from a long time. When you file a reply, you must say how many doctors are there for this PHC and both doctors are on duty.
Yeah.
So, point by point, you have to give me a reply. the same format, point by point.
Yes, yes.
All right. And that you can do only if you undertake visits. So you give them 1 month's time
No.
to rectify everything. After 1 month, you have surprise visits done. After 1 month, unannounced. Then you file an affidavit here. When you file an affidavit, we'll have it cross-verified by again the same exercise.
Team, my lord, same team.
Right. Another exercise will be repeated.
Right, my lord.
That's the only way we can keep people on their toes.
Right, right. True.
When was the? When did we give them the copies of the videos? We passed an order for that.
Lordship had handed it to me, by order dated 9th of February, my lord. It was given to me on 10th of February by the registry itself, my lord.
Right. Okay, you say this PIL by a practicing lawyer was filed expressing concern over the sanction posts of doctors in the public health service in Orissa not being filled up for a long number of years. A number of other issues plaguing the public health system, including lack of equipment, drugs, drinking water, cleanliness, sanitation facilities, and the diversion of persons coming to the public health service to private clinics were all highlighted in this petition. Paragraph. A detailed order was passed on 9th August 2021, calling for a response from the Additional Chief Secretary to the Government, Department of Health and Family Welfare, to file a further affidavit regarding the exact number of vacancies in each of the posts in the Orissa Medical Health Service, bracket OMHS, and the what is OMES? Is there something called OMES? Or is it OMHS only?
Orissa Medical Education Service.
And the Orissa Medical Educational Services, bracket OMES, cadres. And what time-bound steps were proposed to be taken for filling up those vacancies? On 17 November 2021, the following order was passed. Then reproduce the whole order. Paragraph. Pursuant thereto, reports were submitted by the teams along with video clips to this court, which was taken note of by the court in its order date 15th December 2021. Full stop. Although copies of the reports, including video clips and photographs taken by the visiting teams, were asked to be provided to the counsel for the state by the above order, somehow that was not complied with, and a further direction had to be issued in this regard on 9th February 2022. Full stop. Today, Mr. Samantara acknowledges that on the very next day, that is 10th February 2022, he did receive copies of the reports and the video clips. Full stop. The court decided to take up the matter today in a special sitting, despite it being a holiday, only because the task involved analyzing the reports received from each of the 30 districts, collating the information contained there, and then making an analysis. Full stop. A rough and ready analysis of those reports, running to almost 128 pages, has been provided to Mr. Savantarai, as well as counsel for as well as the petitioner who appears in person. Full stop. It points out the situation that was prevalent in the third week of November 2021, when the teams of the DLSAs visited every district headquarters hospital, bracket DHH, the community health center in every, bracket CHC, in every district, and 2 primary health centers, bracket PHCs, and ascertained the following: 1, the presence of medical staff, bracket doctors, nurses, ward staff, bracket. 2, conditions of the facilities available, bracket infrastructure, power, sanitation, bracket, including cleanliness, toilet facilities and availability of water, bracket. 3, adequacy of stock, bracket, of drugs, medicines, equipments, and the presence of ambulance, bracket. 4, preparedness for dealing with emergencies and whether there was telephone and internet connection. 5, accessibility. Full stop. Apart from the above, the teams could make their additional remarks. Full stop. Mr. Samantarai states that due to a communication gap, he could not pass on the copies to the Health and Family Welfare Department in time, and therefore they need some more time to respond to the district-wise reports. Paragraph. Nearly 6 months have elapsed since the visit by the teams of the DLSAs. Would stop. The court finds that in many of the districts, urgent corrective action requires to be taken. Full stop. In many places, doctors on the rolls were not present, either entirely or only in small measure. Full stop. In many DHH small s, CHCs and PHCs, no nurses were absent and staff was absent. Full stop. Cleanliness is a major issue in most of the facilities, as are toilets. Full stop. Even the availability of clean drinking water is a big issue. Full stop. In many places, the registers for stock of drugs were not properly maintained, and no proper information was available in this regard. Full stop. It's a matter of concern that in many of the above facilities, ambulance was not available. Paragraph. These are too basic for any health facility at any level, including a PHC, not to speak of the CHC and DHH. Full stop. without these basic facilities, it cannot be expected that even the minimum quality of medical care can be afforded to persons who cannot afford, who cannot bear the expense of private healthcare. And yet, in many of the reports from the districts, there are instances of patients being compelled to go to a private facility for their medical diagnostic tests, including MRIs and CT scans. So this is an aspect that requires immediate attention at the hands of the state government. Paragraph. Keeping in view the overall situation that has emerged from the reports submitted, the court directs us under 1. The Health and Family Welfare Department will immediately issue notices to each of the facilities and persons in charge of those facilities. Notices to persons in charge of each of the facilities, pointing out to the shortcomings as highlighted in the report of the DLSA team to that facility in November 2021. Full stop. The date and time of the visit have also been indicated in the report and in the compilation handed over today of the preliminary analysis of such reports. 2. The state government will file a reply in this court in similar fashion, addressing each of the shortcomings, district-wise and facility-wise, in a tabulated form. 3. The state government will organize crack teams to undertake surprise visits to each of the facilities and also to the other facilities that may not have been covered by the teams of the DLSAs in each of the districts to ensure that corrective action has in fact been taken. These visits may be undertaken after a month's time. That would give sufficient time to the facilities to put in all the corrective measures. Full stop. The court expects the above exercise to be completed by the end of July 2022. Full stop. In the August, the affidavit of compliance with the above directions, including the point-wise corrective action taken report, has been filed by the state government in this court on or before 31st July. On or before, you say 1st August 2022. Call this case on 7th August, is there anything? 10th August, is there something? 10th is fine? All right. 10th August at 2 p.m. So don't treat it as adversarial.
No, my lord.
We are all looking to improve the system.
Yes,
All
right.
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 All right.
Wish your lordship a happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
To that issue.
List a lot. Right.